So, what I want to talk about just real quick in like 2 minutes is Mark Cuban going on, going in an interview and saying that we all have prejudice in us, and so punishing Donald Sterling is this kind of slippery slope in which you don't really have the right to voice your opinions in the privacy of your own home, because we all have prejudice in us. So if another person is in danger for their prejudice, you might be in danger for your prejudice, so you should just, like, you know, kind of huddle up and protect everybody. The problem with that is that Mark Cuban didn't really seem to acknowledge the fact that prejudice and bigotry is not just something that we try to avoid for polite purposes, but it actually does do hurt to people. And what also does hurt to people is an attitude that it doesn't really matter, that we shouldn't really care when other individuals are being prejudiced against by those who are in power. So I think that, yes, it is true that we all have bigotry, and good on him, Mark Cuban, for saying that. But I think the statement that we all have bigotry has to be connected to the realization that bigotry actually does do real harm to people. That these basketball players are spending their hard time, like their lives, and pouring their heart into a team that is owned by a Donald Sterling who doesn't think very highly of them. You know, this affects the way these players are treated. This affects their view of the team. This affects their view of themselves. This affects the view of the fans towards the team and the fans toward themselves. This affects the way that blacks are viewed in an arena, basketball, in which they have actually gained some prominence in American society. And this affects us all, because what it does is it licenses us to have a false picture of a certain section of society. And when that happens, society in general is harmed, because we can't make decisions based on accurate perceptions. We're always skewed by a prejudice that we license. So I think that prejudice is not something that should be licensed. I think that bigotry, even if it exists, is something that we admit in order to get it eradicated, not something that we admit in order to excuse it. In order to say, well, everybody does it, so, you know, get over it. No, people do it, and that makes it that much more important for us to try to be vigilant and trying to take care of the problem in ourselves and in others, not just towards blacks, but towards other marginalized individuals, other people who society has kind of pushed off to the edge or kind of talked down. It's good to say, yes, I am part of society, and I am part of the structure that has this view towards people, towards individuals, and I need to work with that. And, you know, I am prejudiced as well, and that's not okay. I have my own prejudices, and that's not okay. I need to work with them. I need to struggle with them, not just say, well, you know, I have prejudice towards this group of people, without realizing how much that hurts that group of people. I have to be extremely conscientious of it. And the failure to be conscientious is something that I should not just apologize for, but something that I should fight against. And, you know, he's saying that, you know, let's not be hypocritical. Well, he shouldn't be hypocritical. When you're in a position of power, when you're a billionaire, when you're a businessman, when you're white, when you're all these things that American culture puts on a pedestal, when you're in a position of power, then you are really, it seems very hypocritical of you to say, well, you should get over your lack of privilege, when you are a very privileged person. So I don't see him as doing something particularly noble by saying you should get over your lack of privilege, because he has all the privilege. It's the people who are marginalized, the people who are struggling, the people who are trapped in these derogatory positions and these derogatory definitions in society that need to that really have something to lose here.